Oh,
Okay.
fantastic.
All
Nice
right,
to see
everyone.
you.
Welcome you all to One Drop
Hi,
Live. We
Tisha.
are here to celebrate. Do we have everyone visible who needs to be? Awesome, awesome, good. Okay. So here we go. So I want to make sure that we get through everything that we have planned for you guys over the next hour. So thank you for giving us this time in your day. And we're looking to entertain you a little bit, inform you a little bit, and then send you off to go and purchase the book, One Drop. So just as a quick little commercial, if you haven't done so already, you can visit www.alicewilsonfreed.com and go and buy the book. And if you want to wait and take your chances, we'll have an opportunity for you to get a copy of the book. We'll have several contests later on in the show or in the virtual book launch for you to get an autographed copy of One Drop or an autographed copy of One Drop and Outside Child, or an autographed copy of One Drop, Outside Child, and a virtual session with the award-winning author herself, Miss Alice Wilson Freed. So let us get started by introducing the woman of the hour. So is Troy on the line?
I'm here, Tish.
All right, you're up.
Yep. How you doing, sweetheart?
Good.
Good, good.
Grand video.
Thank you. So I'm going to introduce my my mother. My name is Troy Clark. I'm my mother's oldest child. My mom, she oftentimes refers to herself as being a late bloomer. What that means in part is that as her adult children, we got to see her sort of come into her own. Writing is, I think, part inspiration, but I think in its essence, it's really just mostly work. It's just a lot of work. My mom was inspired to become a writer, but I've watched as she's taught herself this craft. She taught herself, she made the decision, and she did the work. There were endless writers' workshops, research, midnight calls about this and that, drafts, edits, re-edits, and then a cycle to do it all over again. And it's been an incredible commitment to write a good book. She's done that. This is her third book to be published. And I'm happy for her. I'm proud of her, and I'm happy to be a part of the journey. So I want to thank all of you for taking the time today, being here with my mom as she launches her book, the book by the late bloomer, her new book. And I'm sure, like me, you will all enjoy her creation. So thank you. And congratulations, Mom. I'm happy and proud of you.
Awesome. Great. So there she is. Mom?
You're on mute.
Okay, am I unmuted now?
Welcome.
Oh, me and this computer. Thanks everybody for coming. I'm really glad to see everybody. I just wanted to take time to do just one thing before we get started. And this is for my friend Mary Lee. My friend Mary Lee lost her home to fire. Mary Lee and I are colleagues in the League of Women Voters, and we were in the same book club, and she was one of my beta readers. And I just wanted Mary Lee to know, I'm sure she's probably not here today, but I just wanted her to know that I've experienced what she's going through, and I just wanted to let her know that even though she's lost the structure, I can still picture us sitting at her table, trying to drink her husband's strong coffee, Steve, while we tried to figure out how to save the world. And that memory cannot be burned away. It's etched in my brain. And I just wanted to let Mary Lee know that today. And so even though she may not be here to see it right now, we're recording this, aren't we, Louis? Okay. So she'll be able to see it on the website at some later date. And I just wanted to do that because I know that I wanted to let her know that we're thinking about her. All right, now we can get started, Tisha.
Yes, so here we are. So just so you guys know, I'm going to break this down into 3 categories, right? We want to learn a little bit about you, Mom, at least for some people who may not know as much about you as I do. And then we want to learn a little bit about New Orleans, and we want to learn a lot about One Drop. So that's the 3 categories that this next hour will take. So let's start with a little bit about you. So like I mentioned a moment ago, I know you well. And considering the fact that you happen to be my mother, that makes a lot of sense, right?
Yeah.
But let's dig a little bit into your family history, because in my view, of course, your family history is really interesting. But tell me, like, what was it like to be a child in the 3rd generation from a plantation in Zachary, Louisiana, where your great-grandparents had been sharecroppers?
What was it like?
You can certainly connect that to your writing experience.
Well, I definitely do. In connection to my writing experience, I have to tell you that this is where the storytelling gene comes from, because that's what we did. They told stories all about it. But being 3rd generation, we were pushed to learn to read. That was one thing. I remember a story about my grandfather, Papa, who used to, he insisted on counting and reading. These are the things that he insisted that we learn how to do. So that was a big part of it. My mother was big on education and learning how to read, so she forced us. My mother, I think, actually got her honorary degree after I got my high school degree. That's how, big she was on us going to school. And the experience of learning who you are and where you come from is very much important. And that's part of the reason why I wanted to write, because so many times our stories are not really told from our perspective. They're looked at from somebody else's lens and views. And I wanted to tell my story, my history, my way.
That's awesome. So tell us now a little bit about your experience in New Orleans. So when most people think about New Orleans, right, they think about Bourbon Street, they think about the French Quarter. But tell us about the New Orleans that you grew up in.
Well, first of all, it's interesting you should talk about New Orleans, the French Quarter, and all of the things people go to, and the food and everything people go to New Orleans to see. Because as a young person, when I grew up in New Orleans, we couldn't even go to the French Quarter. We were not allowed in the French Quarter. If you didn't work in the French Quarter, you couldn't go to the French Quarter. If you didn't have a job in one of those fancy restaurants or hotel, you couldn't even venture into the French Quarter. And what's people come to see it and do in New Orleans is the food, the music, the happy times. But we experienced all of that in the projects and the ghettos. Wherever we were, we did that, because the food people enjoy is the food we cooked. The food, take shrimp etouffee, for instance. In my household, in my grandmother's house, that was shrimp stew. And that was, my grandfather would go fishing and crabbing and shrimping and come back with the shrimp, and you make the shrimp stew. But when you go to Arnaud's or one of those big fancy restaurants in New Orleans, you're going to pay through the teeth and leg for shrimp etouffee. We did everything you want to hear, music and dancing. That's what we did. You want to see theater and talking and having a good time. That's what we did. And this was a part of our life. No matter where we were, no matter how poor we were or whatever, this was our culture. Eating, having a good time, music and dancing, and that's New Orleans. So even though we weren't allowed to enjoy it on the high scale in the French Quarter and all those other places, we were doing it. We were enjoying it. And then as you know, it became part of the New Orleans thing. But my New Orleans is the New Orleans that everybody thinks they know. But if you really want a really good etouffee, you should have my grandmother's shrimp stew.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, so the next question I have is a little bit about inspiration. So if you had to come up with, a one sort of sentence description of what inspired you to become an author, what would you say? And it can be a long sentence,
Well, one of the things that inspired me to be an author is trying to transfer storytelling onto the page. I mean, storytelling was just something that we did. It was the way we entertained ourselves. It was the way your grandmother told you what happened in the past. It was the way the parables and everything. It was the way she instructed you on life. It was the way your mother, chastised you. It was always a story to go with everything. So storytelling became it. My brother, the minute he opens his mouth, he's ready to tell you a story. The second no matter what topic you're on, it's a story that has to be told. And I wanted to transfer that to writing. And it's partly because in New Orleans, most books about New Orleans, let's face it, are written by people who visit New Orleans and not necessarily natives of New Orleans. And there are very few books, and particularly contemporary books about the present day New Orleans, that are written by African Americans. Mostly what we write about is that history, the slavery and the voodoo and all this other stuff that people think they want to hear about. So I was inspired to write because I wanted to write a contemporary story about my New Orleans from a voice of a person who actually grew up there and knew the city and knew what the city was, how the city just sort of impacted the way I grew up and the things I believe in and the person that I am.
So let's dig in a little bit. Let's start our conversation about the book. So there's a couple unique things about this book that people might not know in terms of the physical copy that are important. One is you had one grandson, right, who did the cover of the book. So that lovely one drop cover was done by my nephew, Russell.
That's right.
You also had the back cover. Matter of fact, I'll let you tell the story, but I want you to talk about it with this in mind. The question is really about the dedication of your book. It seemed deeply personal, and I wanted to just hear a little bit more about it and tell our audience here a little bbit more about what was going on in your mind, including talking about the cover and the back cover.
I really wasn't expecting to hear from Troy, but his message definitely resonates what the whole writing experience means to me and the family. So that was really a surprise. But to me, because I do call myself a late bloomer, the one thing though that I have always been very consistent about was making sure that my kids understood that they are the keeper and the maker of their own destiny, no matter how hard that is. And as hard as it has been for me, I wanted to make it clear that this is possible for you to get into your own skin and know who you are and make your way, no matter what it is. And that's always been my message to the kids. And that's always been sort of my push to keep pushing, even when things were difficult with the writing and everything else. So the cover, when I finished writing One Drop, my grandson Russell is colorblind. But all I could see was one drop of that little red. But he does these most beautiful charcoals. And I said, wouldn't it be nice if he did a charcoal and then with that one drop of color in there? And so I nagged him until he did. And I was thrilled when the publisher said, these are really, really great. So that's how we came up with the cover. And it also thrills me that he read the book and he came up with that cover all by himself. It was just a total thrill. And the back cover, the photo on the back cover so Russell is my oldest grandson and Franklin is my youngest grandson. And as you know, my grandchildren are from all ethnicities. So I have a white grandson, that's my oldest, and I have a Filipino grandson, that's my youngest. And so we were at a family gathering at my niece Susie's house. Well, you know, and I'm always running away from the pictures. I get away from the cameras. I'm not the camera person. I don't want anybody snapping pictures of me. So when you see our family pictures, you rarely see me in one unless they really just sort of sneak up on me and get it. I don't do pictures. For some reason, I don't photograph well. But Franklin caught this image, and I'd be damned if it's not the best picture of me I've ever seen. So I've been using that picture all around because I look absolutely gorgeous on that picture. So that became the picture for the back cover.
Woo, 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 woo. Tell us, so on the inside cover, you wrote a you wrote a dedication, and I wanted to just give us just a brief background on that dedication.
Yeah, most of my dedications are definitely to my family and to my kids, because you bring me, like I said in the dedication, my children and my grandchildren and my nieces and nephews bring me the joy and the pride in my life. But in this particular instance, right after my husband Frank passed, it wasn't long after that my sister passed. And then my grandson Alex came, and he was here for a while. And we were both going through our stuff, and it was really very, my sister's passing just took the wind out of my sails. It just snapped at me. My sister and I didn't spend a whole lot of time together when we were growing up, and we had plans for our old age. I mean, we were planning our trips together. I was going to show her some of the places Frank had showed me, you know, at some point. And then all of a sudden she gets sick and she passes on. But Alex was here, and I was writing sometimes, and he read some of the pages, and he just happened to pick up some of the pages of One Drop, and he says, "Grammy, this is good. You gonna finish?" I says, I don't know. I just didn't have the wherewithal to write for a long time. It was a long time before I got with it. But Alex is like a dog with a bone. Whenever he sees me, he would say, "Grammy, you writing yet? When you gonna finish that book?" I mean, he never stopped saying that. He never stopped saying that. He says, "You're always telling us to make sure you start with your finish." He was always telling us to just follow your dream and get your dream done. And one day that just clicked inside of me. And I said, I'm going to finish this book, because this boy is not going to I didn't want him to feel that I had stopped doing something that I started. I didn't want to leave that part of my legacy back with him. So that's why I dedicated this book to Alex for making me finish at a time when I just didn't want to be creative. I wanted to be sad.
So everyone here, I think, knows that One Drop is a trilogy. So we're just halfway through the party, right? So this is book number 2 in the 3 books. So tell us about the connection between the first 2 books.
Well, the first book I started because I just wanted to write about my New Orleans, but then Katrina hit, and I says, "Oh my goodness, this is perfect." So it became the first book of a trilogy. So I said, I'm going to write the book. It became the pre-Katrina story. And then the second One Drop you're getting happens during Katrina. It has the two main characters trying to solve a crime during Katrina. And the third book will have them adjusting to New Orleans after Katrina. So that's how the trilogy came to be. And the reason why I chose the mystery genre, I think I've said this before, is it's just hard to tell our stories sometimes. And I'm going to try to get out of this, but I'm always trying to make sure that I want my audience to be wide. Not necessarily because I think everybody needs to know our stories, like we have to know all other history. I think everybody should know our stories. And I was in the airport one day, and I was taking a writing class at UC Berkeley, and I remember writing a story about the first time a white person called me nigger. And I said the word in class, and I thought the class, and I was, of course, the only Black person in this extension class. And oh my Lord, you thought the world was going to cave in, the brouhaha I got about saying that word in that class. But I was going to visit my mom, and I was in the airport. And I looked across at the bookstore and I saw this book title and it said Black Betty. I was drawn to that because I had a friend in the project called Black Betty. Mm-hmm. And I bought the book and read it on the plane. And it was a mystery novel by Walter Mosley. And you know, Walter Mosley does a really good history job of Blacks in Los Angeles during the 60s, during that period of time. And I says, I'm gonna write a mystery about New Orleans and see how that goes. And it just became that way of being more natural. And I didn't have to be so literary, which would have, I didn't have to wait for an owl to fall out the sky. You know how in literary books you have to really describe something and the leaf flew and it was green and purple and as it went down the wind. I didn't want to do all of that. I just wanted to say the leaf fell. And a mystery gave me an opportunity to do that and still get my point across. And so that's why I went into the mystery genre.
Cool. So here we go. So just to remind everyone, if you haven't already purchased the book, we want you to take this opportunity to go to www.alicewilsonfreed.com and get your copy of the book today. And if you just want to wait and take a chance, in just a little bit, we're going to have some contests that give you an opportunity to get you an autographed copy of One Drop or an autographed copy of both One Drop and Outside Child, or an autographed copy of One Drop, Outside Child, and a virtual session with Ms. Alice Wilson Freed herself. So make sure that you stay around here through the rest of this event so that you have an opportunity to get your book. All right, so this takes us to the next piece of this, which I'm gonna ask you to pick the passage in the book that you had the most fun writing, or that you just feel is like the best passage in the book that's a great representation of the book. So we'll take that opportunity to listen to that now.
Well, there are quite a few that I had the most fun writing, and but this is one I chose because you get to see LaDonna's interacting with those misogynistic men in her life, and this is the family part of him. And my son made sure that to tell me that I should not read the whole book to you. So it's a very short version of this. He wanted to make that very clear. And so this is in chapter 9, and the chapter is called Glitch. LaDonna scanned the small crowd of men and women, young and old, milling around at the bar across the room, sipping beverages, too busy discussing the possible severity of the approaching storm to notice her. The weather report on a small television sitting on the opposite edge of the bar fueled the loud and animated conversations. The National Weather Center expects Tropical Storm Katrina, recently upgraded to hurricane on some news outlets, to make landfall in Florida sometime tomorrow, a voice from the television said. Tropical storm, hurricane, LaDonna shook her head. Which is it? Should people pack up and leave, or place a bet on how bad it was or wasn't going to be? In a city accustomed to bad weather, why did storm warnings have to play out as melodramatic media speculation fantasy? LaDonna shrugged and turned her gaze back to the window. Tabor appeared in the doorway, hood and all, dressed way down from his lawyerly GQ look. Just then, the body-pierced waitress placed the hot Java on the table so hard it spilled on her tattooed fingers. Tabor squeezed into the booth across from LaDonna's while the waitress watched, shaking away the coffee from her hand. Hello, Tabor said to the girl. Coffee, please, black. Thank you. There was an intruder at Bunny's and it wasn't the police, LaDonna blurted out as soon as the girl was out of earshot. I'm sure of it. Tabor looked toward the entrance. What was he looking at? LaDonna glanced sideways and saw hot trouble. Oh my God. "What are you doing here?" she asked in a careful, controlled tone. "I thought your life had too much new meaning to be bothered with me." She turned on Taba. "And why didn't you tell me about his baby?" "It wasn't my place to tell you." Taba pushed the hood from his head. Hot Trouble scooted into the booth next to him. LaDonis frowned. His mouth was set into the same stubborn slit as hers. She hated that they looked so much alike, that their expressions mirrored one another. It bothered her to no end that her emotions, especially her negative attitude, could be compared to his by her looks. "But it's okay for him to be all in my business." LaDonis narrowed her eyes. "He was in my office when you called," Tabor said, "heard us talking. Besides, you're the one who told him your business when you asked him to go with you to Bunny's house. But let's not discuss that now." He took a moment to inspect the room, a God forbid if I'm recognized look on his face. "An intruder, you say? What makes you so sure the intruder wasn't the police?" Because what?" Hot Trouble and Tabor interrupted in unison. "Because whoever it was sneaked in through the back door and rummaged around in the dark, same as me. Then a light came on. I lay you odds that light came on by mistake because he clicked it right off. He must have leaned up against it or something." "Did you see him?" Tabor asked. "How could I?" LaDonis barked. "I was busy getting out of there." This is somebody from New Orleans that I have to hang up on. I'm sorry. And that's it. Like my son says, you're going to have to read the book to finish, see what else she was up to.
Awesome. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So here's the last question that I'm going to ask is, if you were to surmise One Drop in 3 words, what would those 3 words be?
Contemporary, mystery, fast-paced.
Awesome. Thank you, Mom. All right. Thank you, Mom.
Woohoo!
Okay. So that brings us to our next session. We've got some special guests, and the first of those special guests, I understand, is on the line. The first of the special guests is on the line. So I'm going to, hold on just one moment. The first special guest is my uncle. His name is Yasin Muhaymin. He is a teacher, a farmer, and a family history buff. And guess what else he is? He's an amazing storyteller. In our theme this week. So let's welcome Uncle Ya. Okay, Uncle Ya, are you here?
Can't hear you. Can you tell him to unmute?
Can you unmute?
Yes.
There we go.
I'm muted. I'm there?
Yes, yeah. You are. How are you doing?
Hey, how you doing, darling? Well, this is I'm happy. I'm really happy. You know, there was a lot of things I was thinking about in preparation for this, and one of them is the main one is Alice, and the reason I'm saying that is because we never called her Alice. Her middle name is Lorraine, and we always called her Lorraine. We only started calling her Alice after she married Frank Free because he had a unique voice and he called her Alice. So we started calling her Alice. But she's always been known to us as Lorraine. One of the unique things about my sister is that she has a very solid and strong ancestral foundation.
Yeah.
She called it storytelling gene, but we lived in what you call it, abject poverty for most of our lives in the Magnolia Housing Project. But we always had the support of all our family. I'm talking about grandmother, grandfather, great grandmother, and that. And as for Alice, we knew that she would be successful, and it was such a wonderful thing because it was like the family just became a launching pad. Not that we would become dependent upon her, but that we wanted somebody in our family to succeed like that, and everybody contributed. That's all kind of things. When she first went to Grambling, we used to take not just me, but our cousins, all of us were so happy. We used to say things like that made us seem like we were important too. We said, I got a cousin go to Grambling, or I have a sister that go to Grambling. That's the kind of pride that we had in the success. But all of our people used to contribute to that, like our grandmothers. I'll give you an example. When my son Dawood graduated from San Francisco, becoming a doctor, our aunt, one of my grandmother's sisters, Aunt Mamie, flew with us to California, and her contribution was a shoebox with tea cakes in it. And she had the tea cakes on her lap, would not put them in the luggage rack or anything like that to the entire flight. But basically, everybody wanted to contribute to the success of a rising star. And we saw that in Alice, and and everybody tried to contribute to whatever it was. I mean, we got contributions from Cutting Brinson and Uncle Henry and all of that, just to make sure that she succeeded. Alice was a teacher. When we were children, like in a project, you have a lot of children because it was mostly single women and their children in the project. And one of the things that Alice used to, I guess, force us to do was play school. And she was always the teacher, and we would play in school. But the difference is, we were playing. She was serious. We were playing school, and she checking the papers. It was just that's the kind. I mean, she, it was just. I mean, it was just clear to us that she was a special person like that. Again, I gotta tell you, when I was in school, every grade in the elementary school after the first grade, at Tunnel Farm School, Alice went to the teacher before I did, the year before, because she was a grade ahead of me. She's older than me. So, but by the time I got to the class, anything that teacher could teach, I already knew, because Alice taught me. She taught me over the summer. I'll give one example. We had one of the things that Tony Fawn used to do. You have to have 100 words to study for the spelling contest, but the test only consisted of 50 words. And she did such a great job. And that's a true story. I mean, when they asked me to spell a word, I said, how you want it, forward or backwards? And that's the kind of, that's the kind of person. She was just that powerful in communicating. I mean, one of the first jobs she had was that I can remember was a stenographer for Judge McKay in the court, and taught herself how to do the shorthand and all that kind of stuff. So she's writing is not something that's foreign to her. And her succeeding in being a successful writer is not something that's surprising to us at all.
Thank you.
We love and appreciate the work that, you know, that she's doing.
Yay. Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right.
Yes, thank you. That's amazing. Now, I've heard a lot of that before, but I thought it was important that we share here so that the people who are reading her books get to know a little bit more about how a writer like this actually develops and comes to be. So thank you so much.
Right.
All right. Everybody say thank you to Uncle Ya. Yay.
Thank you.
All right.
So this will move us into our next special guest. So our next special guest is one of my favorite cousins, and her name is Susie Medak. She's an artist. She's a devoted family member, and she too is an awesome storyteller. So if we could give a welcome to Susie.
Hey, or I should say, hey, Auntie. Yes, and it's great to see your face. It's just great to see so many people's faces. This is a real treat. So I have known Alice since 1989, when she and my Uncle Frank got married, when Ben was about 5 months old. But at that time, we, with Greg and me and all of Frank's nieces and nephews and his kids and Alice and all of her kids, we sort of merged into a single family that was a family of people who all loved words. And, you know, I always think you could sort of say that we had a shared, you know, love affair with words between our families. One of the things that has always struck me about Alice, and that's really special, is that Alice has always encouraged her kids and all of the kids in the family to use their words, as we say to our children, but to use their words both as writers and as speakers. And I think about all the family gatherings, and we have over the years had a lot of family gatherings where always there was a point at which the kids were encouraged to, you know, get up in front of the adults, push them out at the table and say, Tisha, read the poem that you wrote. Alyssa, tell us what you're thinking. I think about the hours that we spent sitting around the dining room table up on Roble Road with Troy and Daoud and Tisha and Greg and me. I can just remember us arguing like crazy, loudly and at high decibel, because the exercise of language was actually always so important in this family. And it's something that's been passed on, I think, with fervor to the next generation. And I think about how intentional that work was in encouraging every generation of this family to love the value of words and the power of words. I think about all the poems that were written for occasions and how many of them are stuck in scrapbooks now and how many of them are between pages of books in our homes, because they were all worth saving. They were really wonderful and beautiful. You know, the thing that was a challenge in our family, and I think particularly about our family seders, is that we had a lot of people who love, not just love words, but they love having the last word. And how in our family you have to compete with me and Greg and Alice and Tisha and Troy, who Uncle Frank used to refer to as the Godfather, and Daoud, and now another generation who all feel, and Ruthie, who all feel like they want to have the last word. And so in order to have the last word in our family, you have to be prepared to sit for an incredibly long time and wait out everybody else. But in the end, I think the thing that I was thinking about Alice in this moment in her life, because she's now had the last word on a lot of things in our family, you know, she even had to outlast Frank so she could have the last word there. But the thing that I would say is been really sort of fascinating to me to watch is that Frank, I think, understood that Alice's stories were worth sharing, and that that Alice's stories were great told, but they could also be told, they could also be enjoyed in written form. And I think Frank really was, I think if I'm not crazy, Frank really pushed you, Alice, to commit these words to writing. And once you started doing that, there was a way of seeing you that I hadn't seen before, which was a kind of, that you had a kind of personal discipline that I simply hadn't had the opportunity to exhibit. And watching you go,
And you still don't.
I still, that's true. But watching you commit every day to writing, once you started doing this, committing to learning how to do it. Actually, I think Troy, you spoke about this a little bit also. Just the intentionality with which you went about learning how to hone your craft was the same kind of intentionality that you raised your children with, that you made family with. And it has been inspiring to watch you do this. It's been a joy to watch you be successful in doing this. And I think that the inspiration that you've left for the generations that are here following you is something that I think is going to be part of your lasting legacy. So great pride in you and your success.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Cousin Susie. Okay, so now we're going to get to the thing that everyone has been waiting for. And to facilitate our contests and giveaways, remember where what you can get is a copy, autographed, of One Drop, or a copy of both One Drop and Outside Child, or both books and a one-on-one session with the award-winning author, Miss Alice Wilson Freed herself. So, all sounding like great things. So I want to welcome my sister-in-law, Miss Yvette Castillo-Clark, who is going to take it from here.
Great.
Yay.
Thank you, Tisha. Thank you to my mother-in-law, Alice Wilson Freed. It has been an honor and a distinguished pleasure to be a part of the family. 15 years ago, my husband and Alice's son, Troy, proposed to me 15 years ago on the anniversary of Hurricane Katrina. It is how we met. It's the reason why we met. And the storm has a very significant role in our family. So I want to say it's an honor to sort of close out this session with some prizes and giveaways in a style that means for you all to get to know the author, for you all to get to know New Orleans, and for you all to get to know the book a little bit. So we're gonna have a few contests so that you can all engage. The first one is really a quick name draw. And so I have done that already for the participants who have joined us today. But I have to say to the relatives and the family on the call that I love all of you who I am related to. You can play, but you cannot win. So, because all of y'all would know the answers to this, most of you would. So I would engage everybody to play. We're going to use all of our forms here online at Zoom. But you cannot win if you are related to Alice Wilson Freed. We want newcomers and guests and other friends to be able to win. So I would say the first person who is going to win the One Drop book, this is the first one, this is our pick, is Mary Ann Perlmutter. Mary Ann, yay! You can take yourself off mute if you'd like to say something. Mary Ann is our first winner of One Drop. Mary Ann, you're still on mute. Oh, we can't hear you. It's okay. It's all right. There you are. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Well, I'm so excited. I actually have this one, and now I'll have the second in the trilogy. So I'm so excited.
Yay! Awesome. Okay.
I love mysteries. Just love them. So
great.
Looking forward to it.
Perfect. Well, that copy of One Drop will be on its way to you. Congratulations, Mary Ann Perlmutter. Okay. So the second contest.
Before you get going,
oh yes, yeah.
Folks need to pay attention to the chat because there's going to be instructions there if you win something. So you'll need to get your instructions on what you do. Okay.
Great. Okay. So this next contest allows us to move a little bit. You can get up and go get something. It is a New Orleans scavenger hunt. So what I want you to do is not go to the store and go buy these items. I want you to just grab whatever's near you. If you can find it, great. If you cannot find it, then you just are not going to show your item. So the whole idea here is that the first person to show their item, once I say what that item is, you get to actually give yourself some points. And so Luis and I are actually going to tally the points. But honestly, it's the first person to show me the item, and I'm actually going to make sure that I kind of look at it. We'll make note, and we'll tell you who the winner is at the end of the scavenger hunt. There are 5 things to acquire around you. You can go upstairs, you can go across the room, or what have you. You would get this item. You are going to get a copy of Outside Child, and you're going to get a copy of the One Drop book. So all of you all will be similar to Marianne Perlmutter and get up to speed with Outside Child and a copy of One Drop. All right, so y'all ready to get your first item? Okay, so if you're multiple people on Zoom, don't push each other, no shoving. All right, the first item, and I'm just gonna keep looking, and I will tell you why. I need to see a butterfly. Go ahead, you all get up. You have about 30 seconds, 35 seconds to go get a butterfly. And if you could show me in your, okay, got one. I see you, buddy. Hold on to your butterflies. Everybody just keep going. 10 more seconds. Show your butterfly. Alice, do you see the butterflies? Okay.
I do see the butterflies. I'm amazed at how many butterflies I see.
Great.
Alice, what's my favorite thing?
Oh, that's right.
Nice. I see it. Okay.
Well, can I tell them why I like the butterfly?
Yeah, I can let them know, and then you can add, because every item. Yep. All right. So Betty Rogers, it looks like you were the first one. So give yourself 5 points. If you got a butterfly, everybody give yourself 5 points.
Yeah.
So Betty Rogers was the first to show it. Thank you, Betty. But it's a total. Sorry. Nice butterflies. I'm amazed that butterflies are out there.
I have one that's 6 feet tall.
Okay. Alice, do you want to quickly share why the butterfly?
Yes, before I graduated from high school, the year I graduated from high school, actually, my grandmother took very, very ill. And she quilted me a quilt to take with me to college, and it had butterflies on it. And unfortunately, that quilt burned in the Oakland Hills fire. But it's always been something that I have a real affinity for the butterflies as a result of that, because it was the last present I got from her, and it was her way of sending me off to college.
Great. And then you all see that Outside Child, the butterfly comes back on the cover of Outside Child. All right, second item, ready. 20 seconds, I'm giving it a little bit less time. These next 3 items are really New Orleans related, to the culture of New Orleans. And so this second item here is a Mardi Gras bead. You get 20 seconds to show me a Mardi Gras bead, if you have it. I see people moving. Someone show me a Mardi Gras bead. I bet you it's a family member, but you can't win. Oh, okay, that's a clown. I see you, Joyce. All right, that's it. Okay, Samara.
I know you, huh?
Okay. Oh man, Betty is
Sheila Griffey.
Yeah. Wow, Sheila. Wow. Okay.
Sherelle.
Sheila, why don't you give yourself 5, 5 points. We got the Mardi Gras bead. Everybody show you Mardi Gras bead?
I have the beads upstairs, but I can't go upstairs.
I have to do this. I'm sorry, tell you how I met Sheila Griffey.
Okay.
My husband, I told him after we got married, we were living in Coronado. And I told him that it was just way too white in Coronado, that I was going to have to go back home. And he went on a business trip. And he was on the plane and he met Sheila Griffith. He says, please call my wife so she won't leave me. That's how I met Sheila Griffith.
Okay, thank you, everyone. We got 2 more with the scavenger hunt. We'll move on to the last one. I'm going to skip the original one that I had, but everyone knows that New Orleans is very well known for jazz and music. So if you want to show me an instrument, show me an instrument. You got 20 seconds to show me an instrument.
The keyboard there.
If you have an instrument. Oh, okay, T. Sherelle, I see that you got the piano. Of course you would. Jasmine, I see you. Okay, 2 family. All right, Dory. Dory got a drum. Dory's got a drum. Great. Okay, Dory, you got to give yourself what is it? 8 points. If anybody got an instrument, add it to points.
Look what Betty has.
Luis, are you helping me tally? I hope people are helping me tally.
I am.
Okay, great. And the last one, and I'll give you I'll share the reason after the last one. I need everybody to find a green pen. A green pen. 20 seconds. Green pen.
Oh my God, there's a green pen.
Susie got it.
Ethan has one.
Jasmine got it. Carol Hendrick. Okay, Carol Hendrick. Great.
It writes green.
Yep.
Yes,
Thank
yeah.
you, Samara. I see you, Tanya. Alston, great. Sarah, wonderful. Add your points up if you got it. You have 3 points for the green pen. So I know this is kind of hard. Everybody was sort of on the honor code for this one. But the maximum points that you can have is 25. Is there anyone who has 21 points? No? Anyone had 20? Samara, your family.
That's what Ben just said.
Okay, I'll go real quick.
Swing.
Who had 19?
I have 18.
Who had 18? Joyce? Joyce is our winner. Joyce is our winner of 2 books. Yay, go Joyce. Outside Child and One Drop. Okay, we're ready for our last one, Tisha?
We are.
Okay, this is our last one. It's going to require you all, if you're in front of your computer, so please open up your chat. This is Hurricane Katrina trivia. Okay, so you're going to have to type your answer in the chat. All right? So what I'd like for you to do is the first person to get all 3 answers correct, and you put all of your answers in the chat, you get what Tisha had said earlier, a Zoom meeting with the author, Alice Wilson Freed, and both books, Outside Child and One Drop. So that is a big Mamma Jamma prize. So Hurricane Katrina trivia. Here are the 3 questions, and I'm going to do it all at the same time, okay? So in the chat, I just want you to put A, then the answer, B, then the answer, then C, then the answer, then hit return, hit enter, okay? You might have to do a little bit of research, but the first one to get the right answer is the winner. First question, A, hurricanes are numerically categorized. What category of Hurricane Katrina was Hurricane Katrina? Okay, that's number 1. And don't shout it out. You just want to just type it in. But when you have all answers, no. Not everybody, when I do everything, then you'll have all the answers. You could do it all at the same time, not right now. B, how many states were affected by the landfall of Hurricane Katrina? B, how many states were affected by the landfall of Hurricane Katrina? And the last one, C, you're going to put all of your answers all together. Which ward of New Orleans was the most affected by Hurricane Katrina? Which ward was affected the most in New Orleans? So A, your answer to hurricanes What's the category number? B, how many states were affected by the landfall of Hurricane Katrina? And the C, which ward of New Orleans was the most affected by Hurricane Katrina? And Luis and I are going to take a look at the chat. I should see ABC. Okay. Let's see here. Hold on. No one's got it right yet. Oh, keep going. Keep trying. Daoud, you almost got it, but your family.
What about Tanya Alston? She looked
okay. We have a winner. Sarah Palmisano. Sarah, where are you? Sarah Palmisano, are you here?
Where is Sarah?
Yay, Sarah Palmisano. Okay. First of all, Hurricane Katrina was a Category 5. Yes. Second question, how many states were affected? They were 4. It was Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and Florida. Correct. And then the most affected ward by Hurricane Katrina in New Orleans was the lower 9th ward. So no one said lower 9, but y'all said 9. That was great. So Sarah Palmisano, you are the winner of the Zoom and the 2 books.
That's awesome.
And that is it. Thank you all so much for playing.
And thank you all for attending today. We've enjoyed our time, and we'll let Mom close this out, but just because, of course, she has the last word. She has learned today. So thanks, everybody, for coming. Please have your friends and family go to AliceWilsonFreed.com and purchase the book. The audiobook will be out soon and available on AliceWilsonFreed.com as well. So do everything, or in Amazon, I believe. So let's do everything we can to draw the book to the top of the, well, it's not charts, but let's just get as many books out there as possible so that more people can know more about my mom as on this journey that she's on. So thank you again. And Mom, last word to you before we let everyone roll out.
Yeah.
Can I have the last word before Alice?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm Don Lowe.
Yes.
Old friend of Frank and Alice. And I think in respect of Frank, he'd really be proud of the showmanship of this launch. And I compliment all of you, some of whom I haven't seen in a long time. And we're grateful to see it come off so successfully. You get the last word, Alice.
Okay. Good to see you, Don. I just wanted to say that with regard to the audio book, it will be on iTunes, Audible, and Amazon. It has been recorded, and it should be within the next 2 weeks. And Luis and I are going to do a launch so everybody will know exactly when it comes out. All right, just want to make sure because lots of people are asking about the audio book. The other thing I wanted to do was, a lot of this was a surprise to me. My daughter took this on, and I should have known a Tisha production would be a production. So I'm really excited about that. But I want to thank her and Yvette and Luis, who helped put this show on. I appreciate it very, very much. And I have to thank all of you for coming. It's been really, really nice. Lena, my best friend Lena is in here. She's on. And all of my friends. And Ed Sedlowski, everybody who came from far and wide. Ben, everybody that's not necessarily here with me all the time. I'm really glad that you got on to help me with this book. Thank you so much, everybody. I hope you enjoy reading the book. Let me know what you think on the website.
Love you.
Love
very
you.
much.
Alice, did you want me to do the nickname or the? No.
Oh, yeah, that's right, the nickname.
Okay. So before you all depart, we want you to further engage with the author and the next book that closes out the trilogy. So you can already get a sense that nicknames is very cultural to New Orleans and also especially to this family. Alice would like for you to engage with the third book by submitting your idea of a nickname and the backstory for the third book due by, and I'll put it in the chat, September 30th, 2020 to awfnickname@gmail.com. So if you have an idea for a new nickname and the backstory, send it to Alice at awfnickname@gmail.com by the end of September for her consideration for the third book that closes out this trilogy.
And just remember, the backstory would be, say jockstrap, for instance. Jockstrap got his name because he stole a jockstrap in high school and got caught. And that name followed him throughout high school. So that's an example of a nickname and a thing. So,
That's right.
All right.
okay, thanks again, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Say it again. Love you, Remy. Love you, family.
Hey, Ross.
Okay.
Isabel.
Thank you, Al.
Hey, everybody.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye.